Sean Payton in that wide-ranging interview at USA Today last week. This is what Dianna is referring to, talking about Nathaniel Hackett's brief tenure as the coach in Denver. Said, everything I heard about last season, we're doing the opposite. It might have been one of the worst coaching jobs in the history of the NFL. That's how bad it was. And again, Rodgers fired back. And I know you've talked to Sean since those comments as well.
Yeah, and he regrets going as far as he went. But in terms of the messaging, that was all about galvanizing the building. He was trying to get the back of the players. The microscope, the spotlight has all been on Russell Wilson, right? There were times last season he really looked lost out there. And the pressure is on Russell Wilson to perform this year. And Sean Payton's perspective on it was, I need to take the pressure off these players. I need to put it on my back. I'm the one that has to come in here and fix all this. And I do think he shared a lot of the problems that existed there to protect the guys, not so much to take the pressure off of himself, because he's comfortable with the expectations that have now been put on him.
Why do you have this very skeptical look on your face, Mr. Woody?
Because I'm not buying any of it, man. I mean, like, if guys' egos are so fragile that you got to go, shoot down another person to lift everybody up, what does that say about the guys in your locker room?
Yeah.
That's the big problem that I have with Sean Payton and what he's talking about. Listen, at the end of the day, players got to look in the mirror and know that I didn't play up to the standard. Russell Wilson should know, regardless of Nathaniel Hackett, which we all know played a big part in this whole situation, what happened in Denver last year, Russell Wilson looked like a shell of himself.
Yep.
Okay, that's just not coaching. That's him too. So I just don't understand what the thinking was about Sean Payton, that I got to down, Nathaniel Hackett to help out Russell Wilson in my locker room. Makes no sense.
See, I think it's totally intentional. It's completely, because we don't know where Russell's headspace is, right? All we hear is, yes, he has stepped up, he's leading this team, but I'm sure it's taken a toll on him. And this is Payton's way, and this is the first time I've heard Sean Payton, since he took over this job, truly show support in his own strange way here, but show that full confidence in his quarterback. And so maybe this is something that they needed.
What do you think of the whole thing, Sam Acho?
I know y'all have heard the proverb, out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. I don't think Sean Payton was trying to protect or preserve anyone. I think he was just speaking out of what he actually believed. He actually believed everything that he said. Just oftentimes coaches don't tell you in public what they think in private. And so for me, I think number one, he believed every single word he said. He probably regrets saying it so publicly for the world to watch. But number one, he believes it. But number two, just because you believe it doesn't mean you go and tell the world. I mean, I don't care what the excuse is. I'm trying to protect my players or speak up. There are better ways. How about you just do a better job of coaching? And so no one wants to give any other team any more ammunition. But let's not sit here and believe that Sean Payton accidentally said, something or trying to protect the players. No, he believed every single word that he said. He just regrets saying it out loud and out in public.
In the meantime, the Rodgers rising to his defense played very well here on this show yesterday. I was sweating the entire day with my excitement. How did it play in the Jets building?
It played really well. Look, initially, this Jets team was stunned. Talking to people in the building that day, they were shocked that Sean Payton would go as far. You don't ever hear a coach publicly criticizing another the way Payton did. And I was told that Hackett wasn't happy with it at all. How could any person be happy with that type of criticism, being called the worst at that job that he did the year prior? But in terms of the locker room, right, you've got guys like Alan Lazard coming out saying that Nathaniel Hackett is the best coach he's ever had. His style, everything he's done already with at least his time in Green Bay and now with the New York Jets is nothing but positive. So here, Sean Payton made these comments to perhaps galvanize the Broncos. Well, this has galvanized the New York Jets.
Yeah, and look, some people maybe in one role can excel, and in another, head coach is a very different animal.
But it was really like Dalvin Cook day at Jets training camp. The energy, Greeny, I've been around that organization for a long time. I don't think I've ever seen that type of energy, at practice within the organization. Yeah. Just what Aaron Rodgers brings to the table and just watching those guys flying around, man, it's a totally different aura over there at Florham Park right now.
That's the the scene when Dalvin Cook was at the Jets practice and the fans were chanting his name. It was like a recruiting day there. But Dianna, while that was a lot of, to use Sean Payton's words, a lot of pomp and circumstance, he left without getting a deal.
Yeah, he left without getting a deal. And, Joe Douglas historically has always shown a discipline with free agents, right? He's not always so quick to sign the hot guy. And granted, that was quite the spectacle. And look, some of this helps out Dalvin Cook's cause here, right? Because your other teams are seeing all the attentions he's getting. He's seeing the support that perhaps the New York Jets are showing him there on a Sunday at training camp. But he has options, right? Let's see how this comes together. He's left New Jersey, right? He's left the New York area. He's back down in Florida, where there's a team in Florida. The Miami Dolphins are keeping an eye on this. New England Patriots are well. But he did leave New York after all of that without a deal, without an offer on the table at this point.
Well, look, and I'll say again what I said yesterday. He gets to do what Saquon Barkley didn't get to do and what Josh Jacobs doesn't get to do, and that is try and play teams against each other. When you have the franchise tag, you're just stuck. He can try and get the Jets and Dolphins and Patriots into a bidding war, and why wouldn't he, in order to try and maximize himself? So, Sacho, let me put a ribbon on this part of the conversation. If you were Dalvin Cook, where would you go? He's got the Jets, the Patriots, and the Dolphins. Let's assume those three teams all want him. Which one makes the most sense to you?
If I'm Dalvin Cook, I'd love to go to Miami. If I'm Dalvin Cook, take out all the chants and the cheers and the training camps. Why? Because you know how explosive that offense is. It's that San Francisco-style offense, right? And so you know there's going to be a lot of outside zones. You see how many big plays their running backs make. And then obviously the defense is going to be there. The Jets have the defense as well. Jets have the quarterback. When it comes to style of play, you know you're going to get the ball in your hand for big playability with that same outside zone scheme that San Francisco had over the last several years, obviously with Mike McDaniel coming from San Fran. And so if I'm Dalvin Cook, I go to Miami for that reason, and also no state tax, baby.
I'll pretend I didn't hear any of that. It's hard to argue, but all of a sudden my earpiece has stopped working. We've lost Sam Otto for the rest of the day. That said, we were talking about Rodgers here, and look, I mean, the reality is he has been the story of this NFL offseason. And Marcus Spears was sitting essentially right where Sam Acho is right now when Swagoo was with us yesterday. And he said that he, for the first time, Marcus Spears, is fully bought in on Rodgers being fully bought in. So Swagoo is all in, and here's Aaron Rodgers talking about the way they're buying in. He told Peter King in an interview, "I enjoy coming to Robert," meaning Robert Saleh, the head coach, "with ideas or maybe in a consultant role like, hey, I've been other places, I see this, I see that," and just him being kind of wide open, and maybe we disagree. I respect the hell out of him when he's like, well, I hear what you're saying, but I think I'm going to do it this way. I love his openness to critically think about the stuff I'm saying or another group of guys might say to him. That, again, is in an interview with Peter King. Dianna, more.
Yeah, that's a solid strength. That's what you hear from all the players, that openness, that he's not that type of head coach where, you have to set up an appointment. You can go right in and share a thought. And from the very start, when Aaron Rodgers walked into the building that day in Florham Park and you lost your mind, everyone bought into the fact that Aaron Rodgers was going to call the shots there. And it takes a certain type of personality in a head coach like Robert Saleh and even GM Joe Douglas to be okay with that, to be comfortable that this quarterback who knows how to win, a 4-time MVP, wants it a certain way, and they're going to try to give him everything he possibly needs to make sure he has success. So is there a lot of control happening here behind Aaron Rodgers? Yeah, he has a lot of control over this organization as the way it should be.
Can I say one thing here?
Sure.
A couple things. One, I think this is Aaron Rodgers' first time playing under the defensive-minded head coach.
It is.
It's different. It's a different vibe when you're playing under a defensive-minded head coach. But also, think about this from Robert Saleh's perspective. I have a first-ballot Hall of Famer that's now my quarterback. He's a young coach. He's still a young coach in this league. Think of all the wealth of knowledge that Aaron Rodgers can give to Robert Saleh about things he's learned throughout his whole career. So, you know, I know you, what was the word you used that for Aaron Rodgers, the consultant?
Yeah.
That's absolutely the case. And why wouldn't you take advantage of that if you're the, you know, Robert Saleh in this particular situation? He's going to help you become a better coach because of all the things that he's seen throughout his whole career.
Absolutely. I mean, Aaron Rodgers has done a lot more winning. This is just the fact than anyone else in that building.
Yes.
So why in the world wouldn't you listen to what he thinks? Sacho, final thought.
Well, I love this. I love what I'm seeing from Robert Saleh and Aaron Rodgers. Here's why. I remember my first year, or my third year in Arizona with the Cardinals. It was Bruce Arians' first year as head coach in Arizona. And obviously he took that team from a 4-12 season or 5-11 season to 10-6 the next year in the playoffs. What did he do? He consulted with guys like Carson Palmer, guys who had played in this league before, who had seen things from their perspective. Yes, BA had his way of thinking, but he obviously added people's opinions in. And so what did that lead to? Led to a playoff appearance that year. But fast forward to his time in Tampa Bay, which I was there the year before their Super Bowl, it led to a Super Bowl appearance with Tom Brady at quarterback. And so rigidity matters, having your viewpoint matters, but including someone else's input is vital for success. We're going to see that this year with Robert Saleh, but I love the fact that he's taking input from a 4-time MVP who knows exactly what he's doing.